Okay, so let's have a look at today's lesson. Today we are looking at situational writing, recognizing purpose, audience, context in the form of an informal email. And I'll be touching on like the finer points of situational writing, some things that you might or might not have heard of before. And if you've heard of them before, just let me know. I'm really open to it. You just have to say, Mr. Joe, I've heard of this before. Can you teach us something different? Or can you teach us something more to do with the format of these kinds of writing and stuff? Okay. I have with me a standard format, right? It teaches you what the formats are for everything that you need to know for your O levels or N levels, whichever that you're taking. The document is really useful, but only if you check it before your exams. All right. I always encourage my students to memorize the formats of all these before their exams because there's actually no point in memorizing them anytime before. You're just going to clutter your brain with stuff that you don't need, and you have so many subjects that you need to take for your O or your N levels. It's just not worth it. Okay. So I will be sending that document to all of you later on when the rest of the regular students are here. I have no idea where the rest of them are. All right. Jensen and Ursa and Raju actually came for the holiday classes. I'm not sure where they are currently. They're supposed to be, but well, let's continue. Ethan's camera is spoiled. That's fine. You can just leave it. You can just leave it turned off. Thank you for telling me, Evan. And welcome to the class, Ethan. So Evan, please update Ethan on whatever I've said about Class Dojo, all right, and whatever I've said about the standardized format. I'm going to wait till it's around 7, until it's 8 o'clock or so. And if the rest are still not here, I'm just going to send you guys all the standardized formats for the different types. So there is a format you have to follow for emails. There's a format you have to follow for formal letter writing, informal letter writing, note writing, report writing, so on and so forth. All right. You don't need to memorize them, wholesale or whatever. You just need to memorize them before your paper one exam. So if you know that your paper one exam is coming up, all right, you read through the night before and you memorize them the night before. Okay. Or even better, you memorize them, you read through the night before, and before your exams, right, you memorize them only before your exams. Why? Because when you get your paper one, you flip it open. First page you should flip to is not your editing. First page you flip to is your situational writing because you want to find out what kind of situational writing you are writing. Then the moment you say, "Oh my God, okay, it's a letter. I need to write a letter." Then what kind of letter is this? Yeah, write to the principal. Formal letter. What was in the thing that I memorized from Mr. George just now? Then you just write it down. Okay, formal letter. Oh, I need to write the date. I need to write the principal's name, the principal's designation. I need to write his address. Then I need to write my address also. Then I need to write the salutation. Dear Mr. Principal, blah, blah, blah. Then I need to have a title. Then after that, I must sign off. So you write down everything. After you're done writing down everything, right, you throw all the information out of your brain. Okay? Because you don't need any more. You've written down the format. So you just memorize it before your exams. All right. I know a lot of teachers, they will say, oh, you have to memorize all the different format. Okay. If I ask you to write an email, you must know what kind of feel you must have, that kind of thing. Nonsense. You don't need to. Just memorize it before your exam. Okay. And then flip to the situational writing section immediately, find out what it is, then whatever that's in your brain, right, just vomit it out. The short-term memory in your brain, just vomit it out. Oh, got to write email. Email got this field. Just write everything out. Then whatever information for the rest, whatever format for, report writing, note taking, whatever nonsense, just throw it out of your brain and just concentrate on the paper one. Okay, that's how I would do it if I were you. Now, that's for situational writing in general. Let's have a look at today's lesson. All right. So we'll be covering a bit of editing as well as usual. It's a very key and very important section in your paper one. We'll be covering it quite a bit. All right. And it really relies on your ability to find the grammar mistakes within the lines and to make changes there. Remember, for editing, okay, boys and girls, for editing, there are always 2 lines that are completely correct, all right, and the rest are all wrong. There's an error somewhere, okay? Are we allowed to put tick for everything and then We say, hey, if we put tick for everything, I can get 2 upon 10. No, it doesn't work that way, my dear friends. Okay, if you put tick for everything, you get 0 upon 10. All right? You need to be precise in order to get that 1 mark each for that. All right, it's very clear in the marking criteria. If you put tick for everything, you get 0. So, editing. Let's have a look. Remember, there are 12 lines. There's a reason why there are 12 lines, okay? 12 lines means 10 question lines, and then two completely correct lines. Why is this important? Because students always look at the question lines only. They're like, hey, I'm going to find the error directly, man. Ooh, I'm going to finish this fast. But you forgot that there are actually 2 lines in your passage that are completely correct. And they are great sources of information. They tell you what kind of tense the paragraph is in. They tell you what the topic is going to be about. They give you a sense of the author's writing style. And you know it's completely correct because there's no question beside those lines. Use the information in those lines, right? They give you so much information. And they tell you and they give you all the hints for that. So don't ignore those lines. All right, don't ignore those lines. They are there for a reason. They're there to help you. You love those lines. Okay, so let's go and have a look at today's lesson. Before we write anything, read through the whole thing. Grabbing a rifle, torch, and warm coat, I set out at a jog trot with our informant. Immediately, looking at this, what are some things that I noticed about the writing style? I is being used over here. The author is writing as himself or herself. This is called the first person. So I am actually expecting the whole entire passage to be in the first person, written from the perspective of the author. Second thing that I notice, the author is actually using the simple present tense. It's as if the author is writing about stuff, all right, blow by blow, and telling you what's happening in the present tense. I set out at a jog. I take a puff of smoke. All right, I aim my rifle, blah, 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 blah. When I know this, it makes it so much easier for me to read the question lines and go, hey, this is the wrong tense. It's not supposed to be in the past. Or this is the wrong tense. It's in the past perfect. That's not good. There's probably an error there. Okay, what else do I actually understand from the first line, the first completely correct line with no errors at all? I see that in the story, there consists of a rifle. Not everyone carries a rifle, so maybe this character is some kind of army person, some kind of soldier. All right, even policemen don't carry rifles, right? Do they carry submachine guns? Yes, they do. The special units carry submachine guns and shotguns. But do they carry rifles? No, they don't. Probably a soldier. All right. He has a torch. He has a warm coat. Sounds like this person is quite well prepared. Immediately, I can say, you know what? This person is probably experienced in whatever he is about to do or she is about to do. All right. Let's continue reading without spotting any errors. Okay. Stanley, who bring with him a 12-bore gun and another torch. Minutes later, we approach the place. Ah, it's then that I realize I have made a mistake. All right, because it seems like this is a narrative. Everything is in the past tense. My mind immediately jumped to the conclusion that set is a simple present tense, but I was sorely mistaken. Set over here is actually the past tense. So I corrected myself. It's actually the simple past tense. Because the present tense of set is set, the past tense of set is also set. Okay? There's no such word as setted. Okay, you can't say I setted out. No, it's I set out as well. Okay, so we continue reading and we realize the whole thing is within the past tense. That makes it easier. All right. We approached the place where the tragedy had taken place, determined to flush out the man-eater on its kill. Oh, this person is not a soldier, because we see that the tiger is over here. Probably a hunter then. The tiger stands, we are coming, long before we knowing where it was. What kind of bad grammar is that? Before we knowing where it was. Immediately this jumps at me, right? But I'm going to hold off on it. I'm not going to pounce on it yet. For we heard no sounds of eating or the breaking of bones. It had seeing our arrival. Oh my god, what kind of English is this? It had seeing our arrival at the huts, which was, as I have mentioned, in full view of a spot where the ogre has seized its victim. Ogre? What are we talking about? Ogre over here. Suddenly there's a mythical creature from fantasy. Have you ever heard of the ogre before? It's like a giant that lives under like a, oh no, it's like a gigantic orc that's like a really disgusting and muscular, with a big like skull something that just smashes you into the ground. An ogre. Doesn't make sense. Maybe the ogre is a metaphorical term for the tiger. I'm not sure because ogre is a monster. The tiger could be a monster over here because the tiger has eaten people before. How do I know? Because it says man eater over here in line 3. Yeah. When we were quite close to the man, when we were quite close, the man eater began to growl and its protest grew to an unbearable volume. Clearly, it was bent on driven us. Huh? It was bent on driven us? Oh, that just jumps out at me, man. Sounds horrible. If we beat a retreat then, while the going was good, all would have been well. However, if we continued to advance, it would either attack us or its courage might fail at the last moment and it would run away with its tail between its legs. Once again, the last sentence over here, the last line over here, no errors, good source of information. Would tells me that it's definitely the simple past. Would is the past tense of will, right? Simple past. Run away with its tail between its legs, telling me that's something to do with the tiger, right? Escaping. So with that information, all right, and what we've gathered so far, I can safely tell you most of the errors here are actually tense in nature. They're mostly tense errors. And it's the most common form of error you will ever find in your editing, all right, for the Sec 1 and Sec 2 pupils. When you get to Sec 3, it's a whole different ball game, all right? But now in Sec 2, it's mostly tense errors, prepositional errors, sometimes subject-verb agreement, all right? They are slowly scaling you up to the O level and N level standard. So still not too difficult right now. Let me just check for everyone whether you've actually done the work online. If you have, then I might just cover this whole part and then just give you the answers. So it seems that Ethan has finished it and Nikki has finished it, but Tammy and Evan have not finished it yet. So what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm just going to get Tammy and Evan to give me their answers in the chat group. Just type it in there. I'm not going to say it's correct or not until you actually type it in. And then for Ethan and Nikki, I will only tell you to give me the answer if you got it wrong in the first place. If not, I'll just take it that you actually got it correct. Okay, so this is just for a bit of good practice for everyone. Let me just add Tammy in here and then Evan on my score sheet as well. All right, question 1. So I set out at a jog trot with our informant Stanley, who bring with him a 12-ball gun and another torch. So over here, can I get Tammy and Evan's answers, please, in the chat group? Thank you. If you got the entire editing correct, right, you get bonus points with you, basically. So you get 10 and then you get +2 on Class Dojo. Okay, Evan, Tammy. All right, so both are correct. And the rest are correct as well. The answer is definitely brought over here. You can't say who bring with him, who brought with him. That's correct. Evan has done question 2. Tammy, can you give me the answer for question 2? Where the tragedy had taken place, determined to flush out the man-eater on its kill. And then for question 3, I would need Ethan's answer as well.